Hello everyone, welcome. I hope you're all doing well. Bienvenidos, espero que todos estén muy bien. In this video, we are going to continue our study of the imperfect verb tense. There are 2 other videos having to do with the imperfect. I suggest you watch all 3 of them to get a good overview of the imperfect verb tense. To find the other videos, all you have to do is just go back to my channel homepage. You can find them there. There's also a playlist with all my Spanish videos, and there's a playlist specifically for the imperfect verb tense. So this video has to do with the 3 irregular verbs ser, ver, and ir. These are the only 3 irregular verbs in the imperfect, so once you've memorized them, then everything else is a regular verb. Just a reminder, there's no way around memorizing the endings of verbs in the preterite, so be sure that you've memorized these endings. Again, I deal with this in another video, so be sure you've watched those other videos. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at those 3 irregular verbs. So this is just a matter of memorization. There's no way around it. Again, native speakers memorize just through practice, so the more you practice with these, the better off you'll be. So just pay attention to the forms here. Notice the verb ir, iba, ibas, iba, íbamos. Notice that accented I on the nosotros, nosotras form. Ibais. And finally, iban. For the verb ser, let's practice the pronunciation here. Era, era, eras, era, éramos. Notice the accented E. Erais, eran. The verb ver, veía. These are actually 3 different syllables here. So we have ve, I, and then a. So the E is accented. Veía, veía, veía. Veías, veías. Stress on the accented I. Veía, veía. Veíamos, veíamos, veíamos. Veíais, veíais. Veían, veían. So once you've memorized, then you're ready to go. So let's try some practice here. So remember, we are conjugating this in the imperfect verb tense. And what we want to say here is, I used to go to the movies, or possibly I was going to the movies. Like I was in the process of going there. Yo iba al cine. Yo iba al cine. Remember, this can mean I used to go to the movies, or I was going to the movies. She was going to the mall, or she used to go to the mall. In the imperfect, you just have to conjugate ir. The subject is ella, so we have iba. Ella iba al centro comercial. She used to go to the mall, or she was going to the mall, depending on the context of your conversation. They used to watch TV, or they were watching TV. Ellos veían la tele. Ellos veían la tele. So this one here would be, we used to watch sports on Sundays. We used to watch sports on Sundays. Ver must be in the imperfect here. Nosotros, ¿cómo se dicen en español? Nosotros veíamos deportes los domingos. Veíamos deportes los domingos. Veíamos deportes los domingos. Okay, so the verb ser, we also use ser in the imperfect to talk about time in the past. So if you wanted to say it was 1 o'clock, you're narrating a story, and you want to say, well, it was 1 o'clock, you're setting up the scene. This would be in the imperfect, so it would be era la una. Era because la una is singular. Era la una. If you want to say it was 2 o'clock, it's the same verb, but it has to be plural because 2 o'clock is plural. Remember, in the present tense, to tell time, you say es la una, it's 1 o'clock. But if you want to say it's 2 o'clock, you have to say son las dos. So in the past, instead of era, you would say eran. Eran las dos. It was 2 o'clock. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. How would you say this? Eran las 3 de la tarde. Eran las 3. We also use the verb ser in the imperfect to talk about physical characteristics in the past. So if you're describing someone in the past, you have to put the verb in the imperfect, the verb ser. So as an example, if I want to say, well, she was tall, remember in the present tense you would say ella es alta. She is tall, but she was tall. Ella era alta. Ella era alta. She was tall. He was very nice. In the present tense, es muy simpático. Él es muy simpático. Putting it in the past tense, you would use the imperfect. Él era muy simpático. Él era muy simpático. They were very generous. In the present, it would be son muy generosos. Son muy generosos. Or son muy generosas. So put it in the imperfect now because we're talking in the past. They were very generous. Ellas eran muy generosas. Ellos eran muy generosos. Ellas eran muy generosas. Ellos eran muy generosos. Okay, well that's the end of this lesson. So if you've watched the 3 videos, you should have a good overview of how the imperfect verb tense works. That's it for this video. See you in the next one. Ciao.